Hello and welcome to a self-portrait ritual reflecting on our identities. For this month of August 2023 on Patreon, we've been working with reflection as our theme. And so to help us kind of close out Leo season as that ends on the 23rd, or well, Virgo season begins on the 23rd. This might be a really nice time to just kind of crystallize any of that Leo energy that we are experiencing, going through, and exploring for ourselves. So, to kind of ease into it, I want to give some intentions, some explanation, all of that good stuff to kind of set the scene for what we are doing. So this is, as always, not intended to be seen as a class. I know on Patreon I listed it as a class slash ritual. I'm kind of backing off of that because as we kind of think about this working as a portrait, we're going to kind of do things a little more intuitively, right? So as we explore this theme of the self, we're going to think about it as time to connect. Think about an intention that helps us, and kind of like thinking about these questions already as we're exploring. So one of the things you might want to use is, of course, any art supplies that you feel called to, whether that is paint, pencil, but also a mirror, or of course, you can use your camera on your computer if that's something that works for you. I'm using this little friend. The questions I want you kind of already tapping into to kind of think about is, who do you see in that mirror, or whatever tool you're using as your reflection? How do you want to see yourself? What is your hope? What is it you hope to embody? Sorry. Who do you want to be or become? Right. And we're going to have some time for journaling. So if you want to, of course, if you're watching the recording, pause the video and already start journaling here, you're welcome to do that. But we're going to connect with some more questions a little later. So our intention, our tools, we're going to try to draw things as we see not as we see ourselves, but rather our energy, like a spirit portrait. And I'll kind of explain that a little bit more, but already think about auras and aura pictures. If you are familiar with those photographs, already start to kind of create that image in your mind, right? So again, two little things to kind of think about. And as we think about our intentions, gather our tools, what is the why? And I love the why question because as a teacher, they always say, like, remember your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you here? But this is actually a great question for tonight as we really solidify our intention, right? So sometimes in art as ritual, we can kind of explore very just big outside ourselves questions or themes. But today we're really connecting with ourselves, our identities, and exploring that through the concept of self portrait to kind of pause and study the very form we fill, but also our soul, our spirit. What does that look like, feel like, sound like, taste like? All the different elements that we can capture, right? So rather than going out, we're looking within. We're really kind of coming to ourselves to sit with ourselves and our identities. So just something to keep in mind as we're moving forward, right? So also, discernment for moving forward. This is not a class on how to paint, draw, or paint a portrait. It is not a time to focus on proportions or getting things perfect. And of course, with that, This is not a space where we want to put judgment when we're looking at ourselves and our forms and feeling the need to pick things apart. I can understand that and feel that. And I feel we all have those to a certain extent, right? So use this space to release those ties to judgment of our forms, whether that is our body shape or connection to certain parts of our body. We want to kind of peel those back so that we can get to the real root, the real deepest connection. So this is a time to connect with self, for honoring our own sacredness. And I feel like that's the magic of Leo energy, is this feeling of being able to stand tall, to stand in like celebration of ourselves, of our talents, of our abilities. And so this is time for exploring who we are as a spirit, a person, a loving human, and a soul, right? And a time to connect with your soul's vision of self rather than just focusing on the physical. That's part of what we're going to explore, but that's not where we want to stop. We don't want to just start and stop right at the doorway. We want to enter all the way in. So what are spirit portraits? Well, this is actually a concept that was first, I think, for me at least, I found out about through an artist whose work I'm going to be sharing in just a moment. But this can be explored in many ways. Could be a time for you to just explore with abstract color, cartoons, as realistic or not as you feel comfortable. Again, this is not going to be a time for us to really study and try to get everything correct or perfect in big air quotes. But we want what is certain, no matter what way you want to explore this, because again, this can look like so many things. We're going to look at examples of that, but whatever this looks like for your own experience, one thing is certain, and that is you want to explore this intention with love and grace and reverence for the self. So really being able to just go, yes, this is what this feels like. So this is work by Speckled Flower. Jess Trevette is her name, and this is some of her artwork. So this is just to give you an idea of this artist's exploration with what spirit portraits look like. At a few events, I actually saw her doing these. So instead of caricatures, she was doing spirit portraits of people. And I really love that. And there's so many different ways that Jess explores what these look like using different lines, colors, all sorts of things to fill the page. And this can just be a really great jumping off point of a spirit portrait. Her work is very playful and expressive. There's a lot of feeling and emotion rather than a focus on capturing exactness. But as we can see from this picture, there's still likeness. So you don't have to totally stay away from it per se. I just don't want that to be a boundary that you are existing in, right? But of course, this can look like different things. This is another example, right? So I kind of just grabbed these online. Unfortunately, I don't know the artist's name, so I apologize for that. But I just wanted to grab something quickly to show a bit of like variety of what could be, the way you want to do it. So you could even take out a photo of yourself. Maybe, I know this is like a long form image, but you could take pictures of yourself on your iPad or computer and draw on top of those if that's something you want to do. So that way you can explore without having to try to capture a likeness if that is intimidating for you. Again, this is not intended to create any stress or rigidity. This is really, as any art ritual is, an opportunity to really open the gates and flood through however you want. So, with that said, I did want to share this just in case this gives you a good starting point, right? So if this is supportive for you, great. If it's not, do not focus on this, because this is just a place to get you started with thinking about portraits, right? These are the very foundations. If it helps, give you just that place to start off of. But a reminder that this is not meant to be anything but that. This is not the box you need to stay in. So again, this is just really about channeling who you are and how you feel as a person. And we're going to take some time to journal with these questions first. So what colors, shapes, and lines represent me as a person? What symbols highlight who I am as a person? How can I honor my magic deeper? What magic do I share with the world? What is my relationship to identity? And what makes me happy, proud, or connected to my purpose? So take a deep breath in through the nose and let it out with a sigh. Just land where you are for a moment. Just kind of relax here for a moment. Sometimes thinking about taking on a big project can give us anxiety, or even looking at ourselves might have some level of anxiety to it, depending on your connection to self, right? So take that moment before we even look in a mirror, before we even do that work, to just be for a second. We're gonna do some journaling, but maybe just put your hands on your heart, on your belly, thighs, wherever feels connected. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just kind of landing where we are. You can have eyes open or closed here for a second, but we just want to just notice where we are, how we're feeling, and already grounding into the body so we can connect with the self. Connect to our form, our spirit. And just be. And when you feel ready, I'm going to put on some music and just kind of roll with the flow right now. So feel free to begin the process of writing, journaling, if you want, and I will be checking back in just a second. All right, my friends. Again, if you're watching this as a recording, you are welcome to go ahead and pause this before we dive in. And of course, before we dive in, I want you to think about an intention that you want to focus on tonight. Think of all the answers, or yeah, all the answers to your question. And just take a moment to place that at the top of your page. Then we are going to go ahead and get comfy. Take out whatever you might be using, whether that is a mirror or something else. And then we're going to, sit with it, right? We're going to be doing a open-eyed meditation. So we're going to be meditating with our image of self. Oops. And we're going to practice some mantras around the self. So when you feel ready, having your image of self in front of you, start by just gazing in your own eyes. And notice what your first inclination is. Do you want to be like me? Pick at something, or like try to change something, or adjust your bangs, your earrings, or are you just here with yourself? A deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a moment, not just sit with yourself, but to give yourself some love, saying some words of encouragement or affirmation. Affirmations might be, I love who I am becoming. I love what I am capable of. I love who I am as a person. I love how I treat others. Remember to relax where you might be feeling clenched. Taking deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Coming back to your intention, what might that be? Is it for self-reflection, self-love, self-acceptance? Notice if you're holding any tension in the shoulders, allow that to roll right off. Taking a deep breath in again and speaking your intention out loud. And again to yourself. Coming back to intention or your words of affirmation. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am me. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let it out with a sigh. You're welcome to sit with this image more if you feel like you need it. But when you feel ready, remember there is no right or wrong. There is just doing what feels authentic. You may begin. You feel called. I'm going to be leaving this up. Reminders while working. I'm going to be circling back shortly. remember, like in a self-portrait class, though, you can keep looking at your image. And I invite you to kind of do that a little bit more, especially if it's uncomfortable. More reason to. Self-acceptance is a muscle we build, not just fall into.
Listen. Listen. Listen to the rhythms. Listen for the sounds that resound between the spaces where the beat meets the streets and the heart finds the drum. And the symphony is one tapestry and the sound becomes one rhythm, connecting every moment to this now. Listen to the cries of broken-hearted mothers and frozen-hearted fathers searching for a meeting place. Listen for the lost incantations composed beneath the surface and scripted to return. Listen to the sounds of new souls birthing and babies becoming of them. Listen for the missing ingredients. Finish the recipes just by listening. to the source of your soul that is screaming to you to slow down and remember, you are divine. A blueprint of perfect information, a reflection of culminated magic on the precipice of extinction. Resurrect your breath. Listen to the heaving of your own chest breathing, leaving emotion alive in the air to resonate. Listen to the orchestration of every interconnected gesture, creating the canvas upon which we dream ourselves into being. Listen for the lyrics between the lines of the words you think you're hearing and let go. Allow yourselves to feel the flow pulsing within your veins, connecting you with every being on this planet. Your arteries are mirrored reflections of the watersheds of this earth. The ratio of water in your body is an exact replication of the ratio of water to land on this planet. Our tears are the waters of the ocean. Our wombs are filled with this same water. This water forms crystals when spoken to softly. How are you speaking? Communication, celebration, education, healing. Listen to all of these seemingly separate sounds and witness this symphony forms one tapestry. You are a weaver of this fabric that needs the harmony of we to be. You are profoundly blessed. Listen to the silent prophecies they don't want us to hear. If we are the ones we've been waiting for, why wait? We are the ones we've been waiting for. Wait no more. Listen, 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 listen.
All right, friends, we're just going to do one more track before we circle up. Of course, if you're watching a recording, put on any music. Pause it. Just for as long as you like. Feel to a good stopping point with what you're working on. And again, pause if you want more time, if you're watching the recording. That last song is actually from an album called, I think it's called Music for Your Plants. So may it help you grow. Um, but before we go, just a little closing out for the video portion for those watching the recording. As always with any art ritual, this is an exercise you can revisit again and again. So if you tried it one way this go around, maybe try this again, maybe a few days out or maybe months out, years, and try it again. Maybe even try with a friend, drawing each other, how you see one another. That can be a really fun way to connect, but also just connect with how the world sees you or how people who love you see you, right? And of course, I want to acknowledge that sitting with ourselves can be hard. That is not always an easy thing to do, looking at ourselves. As much as people kind of talk about how we as a culture seem very self-absorbed, air quotes, sometimes that's the image of ourselves we want to present that we are comfortable with, right? And sometimes this is not a comfortable exercise. And I personally resonate with that as someone who's had body dysmorphia, has body dysmorphia. This is can be a touchy subject. So thank you so much for showing up and participating in this magic and trying it. Because when things are uncomfortable, sometimes that's a good reason that we should do them all the more, right? And of course, please reach out if you have reflections you want to share, whether that is on Instagram, my email, or on Patreon itself. You're more than welcome to let me know how this felt, how you're feeling. And of course, try this exercise with different materials in different ways. Maybe this one was realistic, maybe the next one is abstract, or vice versa. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. And for those of you watching the recording, thank you for showing up. And I shall see you next time. Ta ta.